Today, guys, we are going to discuss one of the topics that's been discussed since the Scottish Cup draw on the last week, around about last weekend. We found out what teams went through. Celtic narrowly beat Dundee, and Rangers absolutely hammered Queen's Park, and both teams were in the draw, and number 7 came out. Rangers got a home tie, and then Celtic got drawn to go to Ibrox. And this stirred up a big debate. And the big debate was that Rangers are obliged to give Celtic the old allocation, which would be the whole Broomland stand at Ibrox, which is about 8,000, and because the Scottish Cup rules say that the away team is due 20% allocation. But there's stumbling blocks in this because, well, we know the allocation was cut a couple of years ago due to safety reasons, and obviously there's many other reasons that probably it can be assumed. We'll never actually know whether it was because Celtic were winning too much and Rangers wanted to try and get a better game advantage, and then I went down to 0 after COVID. It was a thing that shouldn't be talked about, but it was talked about way too much because it's been a bragging war between both clubs. But should they be bringing back this allocation? Remember to put it down below, and if you do enjoy this kind of content, remember to subscribe to the channel. But let's get in. This argument came into kind of play in 2011, that kind of season, where there was increased incidents happening every time there was an Old Firm. There would be incidents, but that's what a derby's all about. Obviously, sometimes it goes over the line, and I think people can own up to that. But in 2016, Rangers were promoted back to the Premiership, and the allocation was still what it was, but after a couple of games, it broke down. The Celtic and Rangers couldn't become an agreement, and it went down from 8,000 to 800. So you can see why fans weren't happy, and both fans could sets of fan groups. Whether if you were a Celtic fan or a Rangers fan, they don't like the kit being that low, because that means people who were high priority in both season ticket brackets weren't getting tickets. It also meant the atmosphere was poorer, and it gave the home team a by far competitive advantage, and it ruined the image of the game. And then obviously COVID happened, many other things happened, and the allocation was cut to nothing. And these games were becoming like, well, if it was because Rangers were saying it was due to safety, Celtic were saying because safety essentially as well. It's also, people need to remember, this is a lot to do with the police rather than the clubs, right? Because the history of the allocation, that's very important in this debate, but the whole argument is 10,000, say there's 38,000 Rangers fans and there's 10,000 Celtic fans, and there's to be policing the whole way around the Celtic end. At the bottom tier of the Rangers end, they also have to police the top tiers and have to put them in the Broomland just in case there's objects thrown. So do you think how much money that's going to cost the police in that kind of sense, and the safety concerns it cost? Obviously, it went on for so many years, and there was issues, but they were still able to kind of go ahead with it. I don't think Celtic will get 10,000. I'm just going to put that out there, and I think if it was at Celtic Park, I would probably say the same, because the circumstances of why it kind of got stopped are the same. But I think the Broomland would be reasonable. but there's also that option of the European allocation or around 4,000, because I think it was Queen's Park last year or Partick Thistle a couple of years ago who got 4,000 tickets at Ibrox, and it created a good atmosphere. And I've seen it in the Scottish Cup for Celtic who they've, I mean Hibs, I think Hibs got 8,000 for the Scottish Cup last year, and it created a good atmosphere. I think the Broomlin would be reasonable, and I think, you know what, it would be a trial run. I think it would be a good opportunity for a trial run, 8,000, and see how it plays out if it comes. Because just think the amount of Celtic fans are going to go to Ibrox, trash the toilets. Rangers fans do the exact same. It's just not going to. But they need to trial it out, see if it goes well. If it doesn't go well, well, you keep it to the reduced 2,500 to 3,000, and I think that keeps everybody happy. But I see the reasons for and against this argument. Obviously, 8,000 to 10,000 create an immense atmosphere. So obviously, this derby is known for the hatred it kind of brings and the passion that fans like. They bereave the club, and they hate the opposition that they're playing against. So let me know your thoughts down below, because it's obviously, but the summary of why I think they could kind of get around this is they do this as a trial run at 8,000. Obviously, it's in the Scottish Cup rules, and they've obviously no plans for this. Or the rules would be in that like exception Old Firm has to be this amount, you know what I mean? Or etc. Because it's like if Hibs played Hearts, it would be the exact same, but obviously this is kind of more deep rooted and it's hard to get around. But I think obviously the place, I think people think, oh, it's the two clubs that are trying to organise it. Obviously it is, but it's mainly down to the police, because they're the ones that have to make sure that everybody's safety is protected. They're just doing their job.
The other hand to see what was going on. Yeah, were you convinced?
It's his job, isn't it?
So hopefully we'll see. As I said, put your opinion down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel, and goodbye.